Hey guys, it's Verge, and welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be ranking almost every single major Bluey character in the show through a tier list. And before we jump in, please like and subscribe, as it'll help me out a ton, and we're getting very close to 100,000 subscribers. Thanks! So here is our tier list, and first we're going to be ranking Bluey, who is a very obvious S tier, and this is because she's literally the namesake of the show, and the main character appears in almost every single Bluey episode except for Slide and Turtleboy. And obviously this show is a very good show, and it can't be a very good show without a very good main character, and Bluey is just that very good main character. She's really cute, she's wholesome, she literally does everything in the show, and she is the perfect main character, so that's why she's an S tier. And her sister Bingo is also an S tier, but I think Bingo is a little bit better than Bluey. And this is because I feel like she's more oppressed, as sometimes she's left out of games by her sister.
You're not playing spies anymore.
And I feel like just for that reason, she's a little bit more of a likable character, and she's a bit younger as well. And sometimes Bluey can be a little bit of a brat, while Bingo isn't usually a brat. She's usually really nice and a really good character as well. So that's why I think she's an S tier, but a little bit better than Bluey. Now for Chloe, on the other hand, she appears in a lot of episodes, mainly The Adventure and Octopus, but I feel like her appearances aren't really the greatest. I think her appearance in Octopus is really good, but The Adventure isn't really that good, and in the rest of the episodes she's kind of more in the background a little bit. And because I think her other appearances just aren't that great, and she really only has the good appearance in Octopus, I'm gonna put her in B tier. Next we have Coco, who is also one of Bluey's friends, and like Chloe, she has a lot of appearances too. And I feel like her appearances are a bit better. Like for example, her debut in Shadowlands was a pretty good episode and a pretty good debut for her. She's also had good roles in the background a little bit, like in Explorers. Really her only downside is the episode Wild Girls, which is just an average episode at best, but I think her appearances are just a bit better than Chloe's. But I still don't think she has the greatest appearances in the show, and I just think she isn't the greatest character, especially with her personality, as she likes to cheat in games a lot. So for this reason, I'm putting her in B tier, but I'm going to put her in front of Chloe. And next we have Snickers, who I think is a really good character. He's funny, he's cute, and he's very unique because he's a dachshund, so he's very long and tall, which makes him struggle to sit upright, which is kind of funny as well. He's also very proud of the fact that he's a sausage dog, and I think his appearance is also really good. His appearance in Shadowlands was really good. He did great in Seesaw. He did great in Typewriter. He's really just a great character and very unique, as he can literally just roll down a hill and take out all of the terriers. I think there are better characters on this list, but I still think he's a great character, and for this reason I'm going to put him in A tier. Now Mackenzie is definitely one of the greatest characters in the show. He's a very lovable character by a lot of people, and he's one of the few characters that isn't from Australia but rather New Zealand. I think he's one of the more relatable characters in the show. He also has really good appearances and a lot of great episodes. For example, he's a really important character in the episode Space, which I think is one of the most underrated episodes by far, which showcases his abandonment issues and his struggle to cope with them. He also appears in Curry Quest with a good role. He was really good in Barky Boats as well, which is one of my favorite episodes. He appeared in Helicopter 2 with a good appearance. He did really great in The Creek. I think that might be one of his best performances. He's also just been there from the start. I mean, he was in the old 2016 pilot, and he was formerly in the intro as well. He also appeared in Spy Game and Circus, which I feel like are probably his worst performances, as I just don't like those episodes at all, especially Circus. But either way, he is a very obvious S tier. Now Honey, I absolutely hate her. If there was an F tier on this tier list, I would definitely put her in F tier. Now I'm going to have a whole video coming out about why I do not like Honey, but to sum it up here, she has a bad character design, and she also just has horrible appearances. For example, she appeared in Spy Game as her debut, and she was just annoying in that episode. She was also really bad in The Doctor, which is one of the worst episodes. She was also kind of average in Shops and Early Baby and Helicopter as well. And of course she appeared in Circus as well, and you know, Circus is just an awful episode in my opinion. Quite literally, her best appearance is literally a Bluey short, which is the Tea Party short. And for all these reasons, as well as with her annoying personality in my opinion, I'm putting her into D tier. But Indy, on the other hand, is another great character. When I think of Indy, I think of the episode Stories, which is a good episode. She's also unique as she's one of the few characters to wear clothing. She had a good appearance in Calypso. She was good in Marcus as well, although that might be a bit of a downside for her, as Marcus is more of an average episode to me. She did great in Early Baby. She did decent in Mums and Dads as well. She also appeared in Wild Girls, which I think she did good at, even though the episode's kind of average, and one of the lowest rated episodes of Bluey by far. But either way, I think she has a great personality, and she's just a great character, and one of the best characters that is a part of Bluey's friend group. So for this reason, I'm putting her in A tier in front of Snickers. Now Winton also appears in Stories, and he also does a great job, but I think he's quite a bit better. First of all, he's probably one of the funniest characters in the show. show. He was especially very hilarious in the episode stories. He's also quite funny in Typewriter while he's doing the Space Invader stuff. He also appeared in Wild Girls, but once again he did alright. He's actually one of the few characters that had a good performance in the episode Circus. He's also kind of funny in Mums and Dads as well, as he became Bluey's baby. He's by far one of the funniest characters in the show, and really lovable as well, which is why I'm going to put him in S tier. Now Rusty might be my favorite character by far. He really likes sports, and I like sports as well. I really like his accent. His character design is great, even though it's a bit similar to Bluey, but he's also been there from the start. He really likes cricket. He also has some of the greatest performances in the show, especially in episodes such as Army and Mums and Dads, and of course cricket. He also did great in Space and Explorers for the brief amount of time he was there. He also did great in Early Baby. I think his performance in Early Baby is by far one of the most underrated performances by any character. His worst performance is probably Shops, but all of his great performances kind of outweigh over there, so he's by far one of my favorite characters. I might even put him ahead of Bluey in S tier. And then next we have Rusty's sister, Dusty. Here's the thing, Dusty doesn't appear that much in these episodes, as she's only appeared in the episode Cricket, but I think she was really cute in Cricket, and was a really good way to tie off the end of the episode when she caught the ball that her brother hit for her.
I got it!
But just because she doesn't really appear that much, I can't really give her a super high rating, so I'm going to put her in C tier. The same goes for Rusty's brother, Digger. I think he's also going to be put in C tier here just because he doesn't have that many performances. But he's also a good character too, and if he had more performances and appearances throughout the show, I think he would be a bit higher. Now next we have Jack, and boy do I like Jack. Pugly's going to like this rating. I'm putting him way up in S tier, in front of Bingo. He is by far one of the greatest characters. Once again, he has similar performances to Rusty, as he appeared in Army and Space, and he did great in both episodes. He also did really good in Explorers, and he's just like really cute and funny. He also represents the neurodivergent community, since he is speculated to have ADHD, which I think just enhances his character and makes him just a far out better character than most of the characters in the show. And while Rusty is my personal favorite, I still really like Jack, but his little sister Lulu is a bit different. Now she appears in the episode Army briefly, and she also appears in Explorers, which she has a much bigger performance, and she is really cute, but she really only has 2 appearances throughout the show, and one of them she was only in there for a brief amount of time. I do think she's a cute character, but she can be a bit annoying about Jack a little bit, but I am going to put her in C tier, but in front of Dusty. The Terriers are also some of my favorite characters as well. First of all, they're the only triplets in the show, and I think the fact that they're so invested with like medieval stuff and knights and stuff like that is really cool. I also think the games that they play are some of the best throughout the show. They had a great appearance in Calypso, an alright appearance in The Adventure, but they also did good in Mums and Dads. They also appeared in Typewriter, where they played a significant role, but I think the Terriers are just really great characters, really funny, really cute, and just like the best Scottish Terriers you could ever see. They're also supposed to be Scottish, which is absolutely crazy, so I'm going to put them in A tier, but in front of Indy. I also forgot to mention that they're really good at TV Shop. Actually, they're really good at TV Shop. Maybe I should just put them in S tier. Next is Pretzel, who's supposed to be a Chihuahua, but doesn't really look like a Chihuahua because he's actually not that small like most Chihuahuas in real life. But either way, I kind of relate to him a lot because he seems to be a character that likes to keep to himself. He also has a really cute name with Pretzel, and he's a cute character as well. I like his performance in Calypso, and while Calypso as an episode overall isn't really my favorite, I think he probably did the best in that episode. He also had a bit of an appearance in Wild Girls, but that's really it. He's more of a background character, and his Wild Girls appearance isn't great, but I really like his Calypso appearance, and I relate to his character overall. I'm gonna put him in B tier, but in front of Coco. Next we have Lucky, who is Bluey's neighbor, so he has obviously had a lot of appearances throughout the show. Like he appears in Keepy Uppy, which he did good in. He also appeared in Bumpy briefly, and Rug Island. He had a good performance in Dad Baby as well, which was probably one of the most funniest episodes of the show. He also appeared in The Decider, which he did great in as well as Cricket, where he threw the ball in. He also has his own Bluey short called A Highball, which is decent as well. I think his character is really cool too. His character design is alright. It's kind of bland, which is a bit of a downside, but that's probably his only downside, and I think he's a cool child character in the show. He's also like Rusty, as he likes to play sports a lot, though I think Lucky is more on the rugby side, while Rusty's more on the cricket side, but because of his love of sports, I kind of relate to him a little bit too, because I love sports as well, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put him in A tier in front of Indy. But next is Chucky, who hasn't had as many appearances, but he's definitely a cute character. I also think his character design is a little bit better than Lucky, even though they're a part of the same family. But I think he's just really cute. He's a little chaotic and past the parcel, but in a funny way. He doesn't have as many appearances, but I think just overall, because of his cuteness and how adorable he is, I'm gonna go ahead and put him in B tier behind Pretzel. And next is Judo, who used to be one of the most hated characters in that show, mostly because of the episode Butterflies and the episode Seesaw, where she was just kind of mean to the characters. But she kind of picked herself back up in the episode Dirt, where she was a lot nicer and was playing games with both Bluey and Bingo, without just like throwing Bingo off to the side like she did in Butterflies. I know a lot of people don't like her still, but I think just because she kind of redeemed herself in Dirt, that she gets a little bit of a boost. I still don't think she's a really great character, because she was very bossy, and I feel like she needs to be in more episodes to kind of prove herself, as she's really only appeared in 3. But just because of her improvement in character, I'm gonna go ahead and put her in B tier behind Chloe. Now next is Muffin. Now this might be a controversial opinion, but I think Muffin isn't the greatest character. I still think she's a great character, but I know a lot of people really like her because of her chaoticness, which is good in some episodes like The Sleepover, but it's also kind of bad in some episodes like, for example, Charades, which I think is the worst episode by far in the show. And I think her performance in Facey Talk is a little bit too chaotic as well. I also don't like her performance in Bike either. But that being said, she does have good appearances. Like, she was really funny in The Sleepover, where she was basically like a zombie because of how tired she was. She also had a really good Bluey minisode, which was Muffin's unboxing. I think her appearance in Library was good, even though she was a bit bratty. And she had a good appearance in Granny Mobile as well, which is surprising since it's a Granny's episode. She's also really funny in a brief moment in Pass the Parcel where she threw her presents in the air. She's also cute in the Bluey short called Honk, though I don't think she was as good in the short Humpty Dumpty. She was also good in Ice Cream, Christmas Swim, and Veranda Santa, as well as Stump Fest. I think she did bad in Horsey Ride though, which is also one of my least favorite episodes, but she did good in Barbecue. But as a character overall, she is a good character, and I feel like she's really important for the show. It's just that she's a really chaotic 3-year-old, and I don't know, I just don't really like that portrayal of her. Even though it could do some good in some episodes, it can really ruin episodes like Charades, which is why I'm not going to put her in S tier, but I'll certainly put her in A tier in front of Snickers. But next we have Socks, which I'm just going to go ahead right now and put her all the way in S tier behind Rusty. She's by far one of the cutest characters in the entire show. She doesn't have any bad appearances. Actually, I kind of lied, she was kind of mid in Horsey Ride, but overall the rest of her appearances are amazing. Like Pizza Girls was an amazing episode. She did good in Backpackers, even though that wasn't an episode that I particularly liked. And even though she was in one of the worst episodes, Charade, she still did good in that episode too. She also did really good in Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound, and of course she was really cute in Facey Talk 2 and The Sign as well. She's by far the cutest character of the show, one of my favorites for sure, and that's why she's in S tier. Next we have Leela, who I think is also a great character. Her appearances are mostly the episode Slide and the episode Daddy Drop Off, which I think she did good in for both episodes. Put her and Bingo together as a duo and the episode is always going to be great. She's really cute, she's really funny, she's really a great friend, and though she doesn't have a ton of appearances, she is still a great character, and I almost want to put her in S tier. Actually, I think I am going to put her in S tier, and just to make it fitting, I'm going to put her right next to Bingo. Now next is Missy, who is the only adopted character in the show, as you can see with her mother in the episode Pass the Parcel. She actually has quite an interesting character design, and she does good in some episodes. She's more of a background character, but I still think she's an alright character. She did okay in Pirates, which I think is her main episode, but she kind of just kept hiding a bunch of the time. However, other than that, there's not much to talk about her, and she's kind of just like a mediocre character, just because of her limited appearances and her just kind of mediocre appearances as well. I'm going to go ahead and put her in C tier in front of Lulu. And next we have Pom Pom, who surprisingly really only appears in one episode, which is Seesaw, which basically focuses all about her and her small size, but literally that's pretty much her only appearance. I'm going to go and put her in C tier just because we haven't seen much of her. Now when it comes to Bentley, she also doesn't have that many appearances. I think the main appearance she has is really the episode Bike, where she's trying to climb the monkey bars, which she can't because she's too short, and we also see her cry over it, so she can get frustrated pretty easily. But once again, much like Pom Pom, she really just doesn't have that many appearances. Because of that, I'm going to put her in C tier right behind Pom Pom, just because Pom Pom I feel like performed a bit better. Now when it comes to Buddy, he really only speaks in one episode, which is Pass the Parcel, but he also features in other episodes as well. And he's kind of more of that awkward middle character, but he's kind of funny because he has his tongue sticking out all the time, and he also likes to pick his nose. He also had that kind of funny awkward moment with Bandit in the episode about Bilby, but he kind of just doesn't have that much of a performance, but I think he's kind of funny, so I'm going to go ahead and put him in the back of B tier. Now Hercules quite literally appears in one episode, which is Circus, which is one of my least favorite episodes, and he's a really big part of that episode because he's kind of just a big bully. He kind of redeems himself at the end, but he's still quite mean to Mackenzie, and in my opinion he's a bit worse than Judo, which is why I'm going to put him in the back of C tier, just because he's still kind of an important piece of that episode, and sometimes it is good to have a mean character. And next is John Luke, who I'm just going to automatically put in S tier. I think I'm going to put him in the very back of S tier just because he only appears in camping, but he really makes camping just such a great episode. If you know, you know. And next is Winnie, who also only has one appearance, but I think she was a really cute character for the appearance that she had, which was in the episode Cafe, and became Bluey's new friend. And I think she's honestly kind of a good character, but either way, I'm going to go ahead and put her in B tier in front of Judo. Next we have Dougie, who's the only deaf character in the show, and he appears in the episode Turtleboy, which is his only appearance, but he's really a great character just because of his deafness and his ability to communicate in sign language, which is kind of a really important piece to the episode and really makes the episode really good. And just because of this, I'm going to go and put him in B tier, but I am going to put him high up. I think I'm going to put him in front of Coco. Now Captain is one half of the buddies, as the other buddy is Mia, and I think when you compare the two, I like Mia a bit more, though I think you see Mia a bit more in the episode. But either way, they really don't appear that much, but because I think Mia is a bit better, I'm going to put Mia at the back of A tier, and I'm going to put Captain in B tier in front of Dougie. Actually no, I'm going to put him behind Dougie. Dougie is a pretty good character. Actually, I might move Dougie up in front of Chucky. Next we have Alfie, who only appeared in one episode, but he kind of became a fan favorite. I think this is mostly due to the fact that, one, he's a teenager who works a job, which is relatable to a lot of teenagers who might watch the show, and two, he's voiced by Robert Irwin, and who doesn't like Robert Irwin? But he only has one appearance, so I can't really rank him high. I am going to put him in B tier because I do kind of like him, but I'm going to put him behind Captain. Next is Tiny, who is kind of similar. He has this Indian accent. He's really good at cricket, kind of unique, he's really tall, and he's kind of a cool character. He doesn't speak much, and he only appears in cricket, but he's still kind of a favorite, so I'm going to go ahead and put him in B tier behind Chloe. Next we have Bandit. I don't even think I have to explain myself. I'm putting him immediately in S tier, probably in front of Bingo. Next is Chilli, who I actually think is the worst character out of the main healer family. I mean, she is a loving mother, and she's really good at being a mother, and is a good motherly character, and she has good appearances as well, but I feel like sometimes she's kind of cringe, especially in episodes like Bus, but she's still a good motherly character, which is why I'm going to put her in A tier. I'm going to put her in front of Lucky. Now next is Frank. Frank doesn't really have that many appearances. He does appear in Octopus, which he had a good appearance in, which also kind of sparked rumors that he may be autistic, but he also only has one appearance, so because of this, I'm going to put him at the front of C tier. Next is Chloe's mom, who's quite literally only a background character. I'm not even sure why she's really on this list here. I didn't make this tier list, by the way. I mean, she's alright. She does kind of appear in Wagon Ride a little bit, which I think is her main appearance. I'm inclined to go put her in D tier, but she isn't like, a horrible character, so I think I'm going to put her in C tier, right in front of Hercules. Next is Bella, who's another mom character and had a really good appearance in Baby Race, but once again, that's kind of it. I think I am going to put her in C tier though, and a little bit higher than Chloe's mom, so I'm going to put her in C tier, right in front of Ludo. Now next is Snickers' mom. I can't even really think much about her. I know she appears in Shadowlands as well as Baby Race, but I don't remember having that much of a role, so realistically I think I'm going to actually have to put her in D tier because she really doesn't do anything. But of course I'm going to put her in front of Honey because nothing is worse than Honey. Next is Mackenzie's dad, who I think is actually a really cool character. Even though he doesn't have that many appearances, he has a cool accent, and I feel like he's just one of those cool dads, so I'm going to put him in B tier right in front of Buddy. But next is Mackenzie's mom, who I think is just slightly better because she has a better appearance. She's really good at Curry Quest 2, and seeing her improvement in face painting is really nice, and she also has one of those more emotional moments with Bingo, so I'm going to put her in B tier as well, but slightly higher, probably in front of Alfie. Next is Marcus and Daisy, who I can't even really think of episodes that they're in. I just know they're in that one Tea Party short, which Honey appears in. They also have that weird character design where they're kind of round, kind of look like a peanut, and they wear those really weird looking glasses. I think Marcus is slightly better because he does have that appearance in archaeology. I'm going to put Marcus at the very back of C tier, and I'm going to put Daisy at the front of D tier. Now next is Indy's mom, who's kind of like a weird little character. I feel like she lives off the edge a little bit. She has really long hair. I mean, when I think of her, I think of her appearance in markets in which she's like selling stuff. I can't quite remember what she's selling, but other than that, she's kind of just mid overall. I mean, I don't really know much about her, so I think I'm just going to put her in C tier, probably in front of Hercules, and probably also in front of Chloe's mom, just because she's kind of unique. Next is Cornelius, who's unironically one of the good parent characters in the show. Even though he doesn't really do much, we got to see his relationship blossom with the terrier's mom, and now they kind of became boyfriend and girlfriend. He's also apparently a famous actor if you ever see that poster in the episode movies. I think I'm going to go ahead and put him in B tier, but in the back of B tier, just because he doesn't really have any speaking roles at all. And the terrier's mom, I think I'm going to put right next to him, because she only has one appearance, but I think it's also just fitting to put them next to each other. Now next is Rusty's dad, who's like the only military character in the show. Now Rusty's dad brought on one of those emotional moments in Army, and then he did really good in cricket, and even though he only really appears in 2 episodes, I'm gonna have to put him high up here because he's really one of those great characters. I'm gonna put him at the very back of A tier. Next is Rusty's mom, who I think is slightly worse. She kind of has a high temper, although she did kind of like get hit in the face with a ball, but she is kind of sweet. She did read a letter to Rusty and to the rest of her family. She only appears twice, which is briefly in the episode Explorers when she picked up Rusty, so I'm gonna go ahead and put her in B tier, probably in front of Cornelius. Next is Jack's dad, who's also kind of more of that awkward character, but he's really a cool dad. He's really nice to Jack, he's really nice to Lulu, and I think he's just a great dad overall. Of course, he appears briefly in Army, but he also appears quite heavily in episode Explorers, which is really where his best moments are. And just because I think he's one of the better parent characters, I'm gonna go ahead and actually put him in A tier, right in front of Mia. Now next is Jack's mom, who literally only appears in the episode Army very briefly, but she does seem to be a nice character, but really she only appears briefly, so I'm gonna put her right in front of Hercules in C tier. Next is Pat, probably one of the best parent characters in the show. I'm gonna put him all the way in S tier, right in front of Mackenzie. I think he's a really cool dad. He's also kind of athletic and likes sports as well, and he's just a really good father overall. While Janelle, on the other hand, appears a lot less than him, but also seems to be a good character as she did really good in Decider. It also seems like a sweet mom, even though she supports the complete opposite team from the rest of her family. I'm gonna go ahead and put her in B tier, right in front of Dougie, because she still is a good character. Now next is Wendy. Wendy could kind of be a little bit bratty, much like Judo, but I think she does it better, and I think she has some good appearances. I like her appearance in Ragdoll, like their appearance in Dirt. She also likes to get caught off guard a lot, especially in the episode Work and the episode Dad Baby, and I'm gonna go ahead and put her in B tier, probably in front of Captain. Next is Stripe, really cool dad, kind of one of the worst fathers in terms of parenting, but I think he's a really cool character, and his younger self is also really cool as well, as we see in Fairy Tail. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put him in S tier, right in front of the Terriers. While Trixie, don't really like her as much. I think she appears a little bit less. She is a good mother, but I think I'm just going to kind of put her in the back of B tier. While Radley is definitely one of the coolest characters in the show. Out of the Healer brothers, he's probably the coolest. He's obviously not the best because Bandit is much better and Radley doesn't appear nearly as much, but he's definitely cooler than Stripe, and plus he had really good appearances in Double Babysitter as well as the episode Design. I'm gonna put him in S tier, right in front of Pat. And then Frisky is also really good. I'm actually gonna put her in S tier as well for pretty much the same reasons. She's going in S tier, but just behind John Luke. Now here's Nana. She's obviously a Nana, so she's a bit old. She's a bit more on the cringier side, and she definitely does have her good appearances, and she could be quite funny at some points. I'm gonna go ahead and put her in the back of A tier, in front of Rusty's dad. Now next is Bob. He quite literally disappeared for like the almost entire series, but he did come back in the episode The Sign. But other than The Sign, he only appears in Granny's, where he literally just flosses. So I think I'm gonna have to put him in C tier, probably in front of Indy's mom. Next is Mort, really good character, kind of a lackluster performance in the episode Phones, but he obviously does it really well in Granddad. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in A tier, right behind Chilli. And then next is Brandy, who had the moment in Onesies, which was her main episode. And then you also see her in The Sign when she got pregnant. But I really don't like anything else about her. I also don't think Onesies is the greatest episode anymore, which I think a lot of people don't like about me, but that's alright. But I'm gonna go ahead and put Brandy in B tier as well, probably in front of Wendy. Now next is Chilli's mom. She doesn't have that many appearances, but that's also just because she died. So we only see her in drawing form. And while it's really sad that she died, I'm ranking characters here, and realistically she doesn't do much, so just for that I'm gonna put her in B tier, but just all the way in the back. Next is Calypso, Obviously, Bluey's teacher, a really good character, definitely a very good teacher. So I'm gonna have to put her in A tier for that reason. I'm gonna put her right behind Lucky. Next is Mrs. Retriever. She doesn't appear much. I know she was probably a really good teacher, but I'm gonna have to put her in C tier here because she's just not on Calypso's level. I'm gonna put her right in front of Jack's mom. Next is Rocco. Also doesn't have that many appearances. Kind of a cool character, I guess. I don't know, there's not much about him. I'm gonna go ahead and put him in C tier as well. Next is Doreen. Doreen's a really nice character, a really good neighbor. Had a really good appearance in Midnight, had a really good appearance in Curry Quest, also had a good appearance in Granny Mobile. So I'm gonna put her in B tier right in front of Judo. Next is the Angry Pug from Granny Mobile. Obviously one of the worst characters. Not worse than Honey though. She's gonna go right in front of Honey in D tier. Now Fido's actually a really cool dad as well. I'm gonna put him straight into A tier as he had good appearance in Perfect and a good appearance in Cafe, and it's just a really cool dad. He likes to play around with his daughter a lot. So I'm gonna put him in A tier, honestly right in front of Chilli. Next is Dougie's mom, who is a good mom, but like only appears once. Once again, much like Dougie, she also knows sign language, so she's really good with her son, but really there's not much about her. I'm gonna have to put her in C tier here, but I think I'm gonna put her a little bit higher. I'm gonna put her right in front of Dusty. Next is Busker, who I think is a more underrated character. He's supposed to represent Joff Bush. He does all the music for Bluey. I think he's a really good character and a really good musician as well. He does have kind of mediocre performances at times, like especially in dance mode, and I'm gonna go ahead and put him in B tier, right in front of Mackenzie's dad. Right there, Mackenzie's dad. Next is Sparky. Only appears in Tradies, and that's quite literally it about him. I'm gonna put him in C tier. I'll put him on the higher hand right in front of Missy. And then there's Chippy, who I think is a bit cooler, but he's also in the same boat. He only appears in one episode, which is Tradies, and I'm gonna put him in the back of B tier. Next is Maynard, who I think is actually a really funny character, and this is just because he believes in aliens and stuff, and he's kind of a wacky individual, but I think his appearances in Granddad and his appearance in Explorers as well is really good, and he's just a great character. I'm gonna actually put him in A tier here, right next to Rusty's dad. Next is Major Tom, really great character, has Lin-Manuel Miranda, you just can't escape him. He's going right into A tier, right in front of Nana. Next is Unicorse, another good character, very chaotic, has very good appearances, definitely a fan favorite. I'm gonna put him in the back of S tier. Now Floppy is Bingo's stuffed animal, and that's basically it. It kind of only appears in Sleepytime. It's not really a character, it's just a toy, so I think I'm gonna have to put Floppy in C. No, I'm putting Floppy in D tier right in the front. And then Chattermax, the chaotic owl that everyone loves, going straight to B tier in the back. Definitely one of the better toy characters. So thank you guys for watching. If you really enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as it'll help me out a ton. And comment down below if you agree with my tier list or not. I'm also going to have a link down in the description where you can make your own tier list on the same thing to see where you place your characters. So thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.